Good morning and welcome to Connected Inc. 2022. I'm really proud today to introduce Joakim Riedinger. Welcome, Joakim. Good morning.
Good morning, my man. Thank you very much for having me. I'm really
Good
pumped
to be here with us. I'm really good, and I really appreciate your participation here. And I know that you prepared something really special for us. And I think you can just introduce briefly yourself and then start with your amazing presentation, man.
Yeah, sure. First of all, thank you very much. I'm really happy to be here with you. Thank you for Wacom. Thank you for organizing this event. I'm really grateful. So my name is Joakim. I'm a 3D animator in my daily job, and we'll talk a little bit about that later. But yeah, today we'll talk about the future of creative education.
The topic today is very interesting because we know that you are not only a professional lead animator and artist, but you are also a mentor. So you help to teach and give very good advices to young professionals that want to introduce in this kind of work on animation and art, digital art in general. And yes, we can start. Thank you.
All right. Well, so as I said, we will talk about the future of the creative education and what does it mean to be an artist in 2020 and maybe in the future as well, an artist or a teacher or a student. So just to let you know, today we'll have 30 minutes where we can talk about those kind of topics. And just to give you a roadmap, we'll talk about first the future, then education, and then how we can apply all that together. So a little bit about me. My name is Joakim. I'm a 3D animator, as I said. I just finished the project House of the Dragon, the HBO prequel from Game of Thrones. And I've been in the VFX and animation industry since 11 years or a little bit more now. I worked on Spider-Verse, Minions, Mitchell's versus the Machines, those kind of stuff. But I'm also doing some illustration. That's my side hobby, and I really love to share tips and tricks and those kind of stuff. On the side, and my third hat that I wear is that I'm working, as my friend Tex just said. I work as a mentor at the Film Academy in Germany, here in Ludwigsburg, and I give I give lectures about animation, character design, and those kind of stuff. And since almost 2 years now, I'm also a Wacom ambassador, so I'm really proud about that. So let's dive a little bit deeper into our subject and talk about the future. So in my opinion, the best way to talk about the future is to look into the past, because as you will see, there was some people did some predictions about the future a long time ago. And so, for example, Mr. Simon Newcomb, which was like a pretty damn serious scientist, he basically said that 120 years ago, that a flying machine is something that humanity will never see. Or, for example, during the golden era of the silent cinema, Charlie Chaplin and those kind of movies, some Hollywood executives, they believe that silent films will always be better without any dialogue. So, which is pretty funny now if you think about it. Time moves on and the computer revolution is now in a full swing. And Charles Darwin, so the grandson of the Darwin that we know, thought that we would only need one computer per country, and that would be enough. And I really love that. If we go like even further further in the future, there was like a magazine called Popular Mechanics, and they predicted that computer will only weigh 1.5 tons. So those kind of numbers are a little bit insane for me, and I'm laughing about that, but at the time it was pretty serious. And even like the CEO of Intel 30 years ago, he basically said that the idea of having a smartphone is completely useless. So as you can see, humans were pretty bad at doing some predictions, especially when the prediction is like not benefiting us. Because all those people, they didn't want the change. They didn't want to see the change. So here you can see a picture of Apollo 11. So that was the first space flight to land human on the moon. And on the right, you can see my grandma. We call her Mamita. And she's a little bit of a nerd. She has like a smartphone. And believe me or not, but her smartphone is like 32,000 times faster than the technology inside Apollo 11. So I love those kind of facts. Here you can see the first computer from IBM, which needed 4 men and 1 truck to be transported for only 5 megabytes of data. And on the right, you can see what we can do today in 2022, 256 gigabytes in like a super small piece of tech.
Sure. That's
so
amazing.
Yeah, I love
I
it.
was thinking in your timeline that when I do my PhD research, and the first graphic tablet was by 1967, 5 years before the first personal computer and keyboard and mouse. So people just was thinking first on doing something with a pen, you know, a digital pen, then using something that is completely different from a natural thing. So these predictions are interesting because scientists maybe sometimes are more, just have limits, and artists have not. So artists, novelists, and concept artists have more look into the future with some advices that could be reality in the following years.
Yeah, exactly. And we can really go forwards even right now. And for example, I see a little bit of a pattern in terms of like ergonomics. We really humans tend to create devices that are coming like more and more closer to our skin. So for example, we all used to work with like desktop that was like sitting on the desk, literally. And then came the laptop, where you can take your computer on your lap. Then comes the smartphone directly in your pocket. So always closer and closer from your skin. Now we have like all the smartwatches and right now we are in the boom of XR and the VR and AR, all those kind of stuff directly on our eyes. I think in Sweden, like a lot of people are putting some chip inside the skin to pay and to do like those kind of actions. So, and maybe like in a few years with all the Neuralink from Elon Musk, we'll have like a computer directly connected in our brain if you want to do this stuff, which is completely insane. But yeah, all this tech is like going super fast at the moment, and maybe we can watch video number 2 now, if that's possible. because the what we call XR, so the tech that uses everything on your eyes, is like getting better and better, and you can see that you can review your work in 3D much easier. Everything is like made basically to be more ergonomic, and the future will be super interesting. So we can also
work. You can work also scale 1-to-1, so it's amazing for an artist just to see 1-to-1 in VR space, and also share the work with other colleagues that works on that. Yeah,
exactly. Same idea. Right now, scientists are working on like contact lenses that basically transform your eye into like Iron Man device, because you can, like, in the future we will have like AR already in our eyes. We can have like night visions, and they're already like working on that. The ability to zoom in and out, or even like to treat your pathologies inside your eyes. So things are getting crazier and crazier, and I love it. I mean, it's the way how evolution is like going, and of course, artificial intelligence is making like a big leap right now. It's getting it's a really hot topic, and I'm pretty sure we all know like all those websites where you can give like a prompt, and the artificial intelligence is giving you some pretty good pictures actually. So for example, if you give like AI just a simple prompt like let's say a sky full of butterfly, it will give you like many iterations that for us as artists we would need like a few hours of work, and here the computer is like doing everything for you. So it's pretty cool, also kind of scary for some people, because obviously it's asking, well, why do we need artists if the computer does everything itself? So you can push the idea, and for example, if you ask the AI at the moment in the state of art in November 2022 to do a portrait of Muhammad Ali, you can see that it does a good job of doing like portraits, but it's kind of creepy, and in my opinion at least, it's not really appealing yet. So there's still like some work to be done. This is I mean, I'm pretty sure you all know Banksy, the street artist. This has been like AI generated, so you can definitely see the style. In my opinion, I don't know, it lacks a little bit of purpose, and you can really feel that the message in the art of Banksy is more important than the style, because here I don't exactly understand what's happening. You know, I recognize the style of Banksy, but I don't feel anything about this picture.
I feel the same with just an experiment on music. They try to do a Kurt Cobain song, so Nirvana song, with the AI, and the song looks, familiar. Could be Nirvana, but not Nirvana 100%, not Kurt Cobain 100%. So it's like a feeling of the artist, but not the artist 100%. So this
exactly, there's no soul now. Yeah. So recently, someone typed Salman in the river with a realistic style, and that's what the AI gave the person. So obviously,
style.
It's really funny because the machine is not really good at with ambiguity at the moment. It's a little bit it doesn't know what to do. And a few weeks ago, I think someone went into like the Colorado State Fair of Fine Art, and the person uploaded this picture, and it actually won the competition, even though it was like AI generated. So it asked quite a few questions about legal stuff as well, because usually the artist is like, yeah, it does its job and you can enter competition. But now this is getting a little bit not out of control, but we need new rules basically into this game. So if you're artist, you probably know this master.
Grandmaster. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. The mastermind is one of my legends. And
you ever meet in person, Joakim? You ever meet him in person?
No.
I do that. I did it in Lucca Comics 2019, and was amazing. Just sitting with him and just watching him just create a huge wall, starting from upper corner on the left, then going on the corner on the right. And yes, was just genius.
Yeah. Unfortunately, he passed away a few weeks ago.
We miss him. We miss him so much.
Yeah. And yeah, so I wanted to honor him a little bit on these slides. So, for example, here you can see his amazing artwork, which was like always sketched with, well, I mean, it was painted without any sketch. He did all the perspective stuff, everything in his mind, which is incredible in my opinion. And this is what AI generated based on his work. So again, you can see that the idea is great, but I don't know, in terms of what the storytelling of this picture is giving me, there's not really soul. So yeah, we still have a lot of work to do on those machines. So yeah, that's about this master, and I see a little bit of a pattern in art history, for example, where this is what I call ancient art, and you can see that everything is a little bit flat. There was no volume, and more painters were trying to get like in realistic style and trying to play with light and understand everything on a physical level. And then came photography, and photography was kind of a troublemaker because it revolutionized, I don't know if that's a word, completely the visual arts, because suddenly a machine would do everything better than men in terms of realisticness. And then came the stylization. So for example, Picasso or Monet that you have on the left created like some stuff above realistic, and even with like a stronger style. And I see exactly the same pattern actually with animation. Here on the right, you can see the first animated movies, which were quite rough, and that was just the beginning, because a few years later we can do like pretty good realistic renders and animation. And but because of all these new tools, I see a pattern that we go more and more now with the stylization, which is amazing for me, because I think that's what we need to do as artists. So for the first part, what we learned was that humans are pretty bad at predicting the future. Computers are going super fast, and AI has quite a hard time with dealing with ambiguity. So we'll go on the education part, and we'll talk a little bit about why is pedagogy and education so important. So why is sharing knowledge important? Well, it turns out humans, we are not really the alpha in the animal world. Tigers are much stronger. Cheetahs are much faster. We don't have like big teeth like crocodiles. So if you let me in the jungle for a few months, deep in the jungle naked, I'm pretty sure I will not survive. So, and that's why education was our bigger strength, basically, because we could share knowledge as species, and we could say, hey, Tex, watch out, there is a tiger 100 meters from here, so don't go there. And if you go like throughout history, you can definitely see that mentorship was like a big thing already, like in the Renaissance. You can see always the master teaching to the student. And on the right, you have a picture of Disney animators that were also following this model. And based on that, you can ask your question, is really like school, the school system that we know now, is it really the way to go? Or could I learn everything on my couch, basically? And in my opinion, classroom is pretty good because we can meet with people, we can have like feedback from each other. But at the same time, in a classroom, teacher, they have to, how can I say, they have to condense all the knowledge for the entire year or for the program. And they need to share everything to the people the same way. And more with the learn from home scenario, you can learn at your own pace, you can learn what you want, you are much more flexible. But at the same time, we are social animals and we like to gather to learn, basically. So in my opinion, I like to say that education will be more and more about the person, the artist, and less about the university or the institution. Because that's only my opinion, but I think that the biggest issue about the schooling system is that it has really been built for productivity, and that's based on the Industrial Revolution in the 1800s. They tried to have like one size fits all because they wanted to share the knowledge to all the kids, all the students at the same time. But if you look in the nature, for example, animals, they are always playing to acquire new skills, and they are learning to socialize and work together. Game is really the supreme way to learn in their world. So I really think that fulfillment should be like the cornerstone of education. That's my opinion. And when you see how the brain is like working, this is a graph that was done like I think in the 60s. It has been a little bit criticized because of the lack of feedback, but I still like it because it shows that giving a lecture, for example, right now, what I'm doing now, you will not really retain as much as if you practice or if you do things or if you teach it to other people. And the reason why is that our brains are connected with like doing mistakes. And the more we are doing mistakes, the better chance we have to keep this knowledge. And that's why I always say that there is a big difference between the grade and the correction. And we'll talk about that a little bit later, but grades is just giving you like the feedback that, hey, you got like this and this points to your exam, but the correction is really useful. And I was quite a bad student because I was not really interested in school and I got bad grades. So I always thought that correction is equal to grade, but actually it's not the same. We'll talk about that later, but video games, for example, gives you feedback and correction all of the time. And that's why, in my opinion, video games is really really nice way to use education.
Learn, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So,
totally agree with you. As a teacher, I know that sometimes the final mark is a number. But when you explain why you put that final mark to the student and what they can improve, even if the mark is low, all the students say, okay, yes, I understood, and thank you for explanation. So that's very important.
Exactly. All right, so we can now go to the third part and how we can apply everything. So first, I want to talk about a little history thing that I think is quite useful. Before the 15th century, information was like written on sheepskin. And obviously, all the scholars that were doing that, they used the information and they wrote it, but it was really specific. Only if something is really important, you would write it down. And then a few years later came the paper, and paper was like much cheaper at the time. So all the knowledge that they used to memorize, they wrote it down on the paper. And it turns out that this brand new tech allowed them to forget the fact. And is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? That's up to you. But at least it gave them like a little bit more brain space and brain memory. And in my opinion, it's exactly the same. I don't know if you guys used like those old school telephones, but 20 years ago, I used to know like 10 telephone numbers by heart. And right now I don't even know mine, you know? So I'm not using my capacity for that, but maybe I'm using it for like doing more animation or something. So this is like an example where learning that kind of stuff for me was really hard. That's ode to Joy, the Symphony number 9, and it's an amazing song. I love it. And maybe we can play video 3, the piano video. So in this video,
oh my God.
in this video, you see that the woman is like using a VR set.
Yeah.
She plays the piano, and she has all the notes coming towards her. So this is a great way to get the feedback of the music, and you are corrected in live, and you don't need like a school teacher saying, hey, you did a wrong note or whatever. You can learn on the fly, and I find it like fascinating. Same idea with like video number 4 with the ping pong. This is again like a game changer in terms of like how you can learn a skill, in my opinion, because you can definitely use the new tech that we are building, and you can play with a friend that is like in the US when you live in Japan or whatever, and you can play interactively, and the feedback is like really amazing. So in my opinion, tech has to be used like really like in a smart way, and we will be able to do like some really nice progression in our skills. VR is also used quite a lot in the medical science and surgical training. This is, for example, also VR. It's an app that allows healthcare professionals to become way better at sharing and practicing their skills. And they noted a 300% increase in skill transfer. That's what they say, so which is amazing. And I really think the future is like gonna be better with that kind of stuff. Also, a lot of companies, video games companies, are using and giving their platform to educators, for example, teachers or and they're building like all those courses where kids could learn things directly into the game, their favorite games, which is, in my opinion, amazing, because you can take something that they like to play and you can teach them with those kind of tools. And yeah, more and more you have like some websites coming where you can give the website to students and they can learn by themselves, and automatically the website will show you the way where you can go and where you can learn better things. And same for teacher, it can help track the performance of the students, automate the assignment of scoring or whatever, and personalize the curriculum needed for every student. So yeah, obviously with the AI and the quantum computers that are coming and that will revolutionize everything, in my opinion, we are only at the beginning of like computer performance, but pretty soon it will become like much crazier, and the computers will become better at tasks than us. And that's really why for every tech innovation, so in my opinion, AI, artificial intelligence, is really like an innovation and really a revolution, even because it's going to change our society greatly. We also need to have like wisdom, and we need some people to do the right decisions, and to be there and think about what can be good, what could be bad, and every technology will be used for the greater good, but also for the greater bad at some point. And we really need this wisdom for the human beings. So yeah, that's my point of view, and I will finish with a quote from one of my other master, Mr. Da Vinci. He said basically that nature is the source of all true knowledge, and she has her own logic, her own laws, and she has no effect without cause, nor invention without necessity. If you look at nature is always like smart and takes the right decision, and the more we can shape our technology towards nature, the better it will be for the future. So yeah, thank you very much for listening.
Thank you.
To me.
I think just it's time for the Q&A session, and thank you for all this very amazing presentation. Totally agree with you with gamification, even on learning and just speaking about new technologies. But let's see from the audience which are the questions. So the first question is, do you think the craftsmanship aspect of digital art creation will become obsolete with the pace of the AI-generated art?
So that's a really great question. I think that AI will definitely change the game. It will definitely have a big impact on all our jobs, not only artists, but everything. And I think that it will basically remove the boring job, saying all the things that takes time and takes iteration, those kind of stuff, that will be reduced more and more. And so obviously, if you're a storyteller, that's amazing, because you don't need to work as hard on the fact of doing things, but you will focus all your energy on being a storyteller and telling a story, telling what you want to do and what you want to express. For example, a painting that usually took you like 100 hours now can be done much faster, probably, or maybe in the future, but at least you can use this time to think about the message more, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. For example, I use AI for references sometimes. If I cannot find and my crazy, ideas, I can just visualize in a while and then use them as just the very starting point, very rough concept point. So another question about students. So what are your recommendations for young creative students to overcome art block? It's
Art block.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good question as well, because art block is really, in my opinion, the fact that you know that you like to do art, but you don't want to do it because you're afraid of doing a bad drawing. Usually that's the main cause of art block. So in my opinion, it means that you should focus on your art and not what the others want to see. So let's say that you really love, let's say, unicorns, or you really love to listen to piano. Then I would push you to go in the direction of your passion, let's say piano, and then draw like a lot of things about piano. And that will automatically, because you use your passion as the main idea of your art, then suddenly you have a lot of ideas. And this blockage is not coming from the fact that you cannot draw, but it's coming from the fact that you're afraid of like doing mistakes, in my opinion.
Yeah, thank you. This is prizes advice for very young student and young professional too. So another question is more personal for you. Looking back earlier in your career, did you have any predictions that turned out be so wrong?
Let me think about it. Well, in my career, I was always thinking that I was not a good animator, or I will never have like good shots. In animation, you're always talking about shots because that's how you can scale the level of your skills. And I was never predicting to become good at what I love to do. But if you push towards like one goal, you can definitely go in one direction and become really good at it. You just need to practice, and that's the only name of the game. There's like a lot of things you can do to become better, and you just need to be like a student throughout your life. That's my big thing. I'm not thinking about myself as like someone that reached my goal, but I always want to learn more and study more, study anatomy.
To overcome the level. Every time we can just overcome, and we're not arrived. Yes, I'm totally agree with you. Sometimes I can learn a lot from my students because it's just an interchange of knowledge and experience.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
That's very important. So another question is, how do you deal with students in your classes who react differently to one-size-fits-all approach? Some teachers are sharing their positive experience in eliminating deadlines for assignment or even grading. What are your thoughts about these different approaches to teaching?
Yeah, so in my opinion, the best teaching method would be to find a good mentor, because if you have a mentor, there is no one-size-fits-all method, because you can definitely have a connection with the person, and obviously that would be the best to get. In the schooling system at the moment, you're always dealing with like a lot of people, and that's when the problem can occur. But how do I deal with that? Well, the best way would be to connect on like a personal level and understand why the person is struggling or not connecting with the topic. But yeah, in my opinion, that's when the new tools can really get useful, because you will be able to understand like much faster why the person is struggling, or why are the basics not there, or yeah. So is that answering the question?
And the very last question is, it's both for you and me, and is to both of you, what is the movie or animation that you recommend to all your students as a must watch? So you first, and then.
All right, that's a pretty good question.
Or you can say just an animation and then a movie, for example. Just
all right.
Double answer.
So I really loved a movie that was made in France. It's called The Illusionist. I'm not sure if you saw it. For me, it's one of the best movie ever. It's a little bit, it's not like an action movie, but you can really feel the acting choices. And yeah, so that would be for the animation part. And you want to go for the movie, right?
Yeah, no, you can just say two, both animation and movies, and then I will just answer time. Yeah.
On the movies, that's a hard one. I really love Fight Club. Fight Club comes in my mind just because of the cinematography, the complexity in the storytelling. Yeah, that's a pretty good one, and Brad Pitt is like amazing.
Yeah, I'm totally agree with you. For my part, for animation, was just in love with Akira. It's a masterpiece. You have to see it. It's a must watch because it's from the lip syncing for the first time, traditional animation, and then some part of the CGI, but only to make the wireframe on the city, just running with the bikes, and digital matte painting was amazing, and also the soundtrack with an orchestra was amazing. So you have to see it. For all my students, they have to watch Akira, and for movie, Blade Runner, because I think Blade Runner. So I have my Bible here at Sid Mead. I love his concept art. I think this concept artist will just make a lot of prediction on the future. And Blade Runner, both the novel that was totally different title. So do androids dreams of electric ships was the title of the novel. But the movie is amazing. It's totally contemporary, 100%. You can just see everything, and the look is amazing. The light is amazing. The color correction is amazing. Yeah, and that's my advices for all my students. Man, I have to say that's really interesting. I will speak 4 hours with you with these topics and even more. That was amazing for our audience. Thank you so much to be here and to share all your knowledge and experience with us. And I hope to meet you soon in person, as soon as possible. And thank you, Wacom, for this great experience. Thank you, Connected Inc. event. And stay tuned for even more event to the next stage. Okay. Thank you so much. Goodbye, Joakim.
Good morning and good afternoon to everybody, and thank you for joining us on this online session for Connected Inc 2022. I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Sarah van den Belt, and I'm responsible for the education business at Wacom Europe. And I'm joined by my colleagues based over in Dusseldorf, Heidi Wang, who is the VP of the Inc division, and Andre Kratzenberg, who is the Senior Director of Sales for Wacom Europe. We together would like to welcome you to the Education Day, and I hope you joined the earlier session and enjoyed that one. And we have two very interesting sessions coming up. But first, can I ask Heidi, would you like to just introduce yourself and just explain what technology in education means for Wacom?
Sure, thank you, Sarah. Also, warm welcome from my side. Hello, everyone. Thank you for the intro, Sarah. My name is Heidi Wang. I am responsible for the Inc division at Wacom. And Inc division, we are mainly dealing with digital ink technologies, but also a lot of use case innovations related to pen and ink use case. Yeah. Let me talk a little bit about the Wacom vision, the tech vision related to education. So at Wacom, we believe in lifelong ink. So that's our vision. And lifelong ink really stands for whatever we do in terms of technology and innovation. We really want to always focus on the human being and really deliver meaningful experience to them, creating real value. And at the same time, creativity is our DNA for 4 decades now already. And that's why very, very logical step for us from the beginning, the support and the development of our younger generations in their creative journey, in developing their competencies and skills are so essential to us. So we at Wacom, we believe in the term STEAM with the big A, so STEAM, because the aspect of art is very, very essential for children's development in terms of how they discover the world, how they interact, and how they grow really their competencies. And in this context, I think it's very, very trivial that everyone, we start with exploring the world with the pen and to start with simple drawings. So that's why our technology focus is really how we develop meaningful technologies to enable good use cases for pen and ink that is natural, that is intuitive, easy to use, but at the same time also leveraging the technology aspect to add more value and help our children to learn and develop themselves better. At the same time, our technology should also support teachers. We need to have the ability to support the children to be more focused, and so that you will see in these 2 sessions really how technology assisting the people, the kids learning, but also the teachers in their teaching activities. So you will see a big variation of classroom scenarios, how digital technology is contributing to learning, as well as to very unique explorations and development of the kids. I'm particularly interested today in this first session, which is with the partner Caligo. Caligo is a long-term partner of myself and Inc division, because we were fascinated from day one about their vision, about how to help younger children to learn handwriting with their technology behind, to really providing assisting support in a very fun way, but more you will see in the video. So that's about Wacom's commitment and focus in developing meaningful technologies for education. And with that, I want to hand over to Andre, talking a little bit of the business aspect.
Thank you, Heidi. Yeah, Heidi explained already the relevance of the ink technology in education. Wacom has already since a long time good history in education, but we're coming mainly from creative education, but we develop more and more into the higher education industry. So, of course, with the pandemic situation happens most likely 2 years ago, the picture changed for Wacom as well. So we are becoming more focused on universities and also on K-12, especially. The remote learning brought the pen ability and the transformation to pen technology more into focus of teachers, of students, of schools on the total education industry. This helps us a lot to get a better footprint into this industry, but we saw also from our partners, from the industry, from our dealers across Europe, but also from other partners. I think, Sarah, you will talk more about these partner relationships we did on hardware, software, but also in the associations. We could really establish a better footprint for us in this industry. So education becomes a more relevant part of our business. And I think we understood the sign of this time. And we decided to expand our business by expanding our team and also by expanding our investments and being more present on different events, but also be more present in these associations, as I said already. Okay. With this, I hand over to Sarah. I think you will explain a little bit more about our partnership, especially in the software area.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. Very much related to this session now. As Heidi mentioned, we have a strong partnership with Colligo. And earlier on this year, we met with Colligo at BET, one of the big focus events that we have for education. And we had an incredibly good conversation around really focusing on having a joint approach to the early years learning process and focus very much on the Chromebook market, which is a big focus market for us. So together we've identified a school, Chandling's Prep, school based in the UK, where we're running a really exciting pilot to be able to learn more from the teachers, from the students about how using a Wacom pen and the Colligo software application, which is an incredibly impressive AI-based application for developing handwriting in early years, how the two combination together is very, very strong as a solution to enable students and teachers within the classroom. We've created a video to be able to show you about this pilot, which I'm very excited to be able to show you. We will start running it in a second, and just to let you know that the three of us will then be available for any questions that you may have following the session. So I hope you enjoy it, and we will see you again very soon.
I'm Abigail Richardson and I'm a Year 1 form teacher at Chandling's Prep School. So Katie, our head of IT, came to me and decided that she thought our class would be great for the trial. We really focus on our handwriting in Year 1, and it's really important that they develop those skills.
I'm Katie, I'm head of digital learning at the Prep Schools Trust. So we hope that the Wacom and Colligo integration in our school will help create the enthusiasm for handwriting. We've already seen that already amongst our pupils. They've been engaged from the first point, and obviously in Key Stage 1 we want to get those fundamentals right regarding their handwriting. The fact that the students receive instant feedback has led to them having personalized learning, and it is improving their pupils' handwriting in a very short space of time. It was also managed to save our teachers time and helped manage the progress for every pupil along the way.
My name's Sarah van den Belt. I've been working for Wacom for the last 12 years and I'm responsible for the education business across Europe. For Wacom, it's all about the pen. The digital pen is our history. And to utilise that within our technology gives us a key differentiator in this market, because we developed the technology over 40 years ago, and for us it's all about that natural feeling. So to bring that into today's solutions, especially within schools, but with such a natural tool, makes us incredibly passionate around this market.
The digital pen really reflects the children with pencil and paper. They are able to hold the pen correctly and use it as they would with pen and paper. The students can access lots of different things. They can do drawings and art, they can practice number formations, they can practice their letter formations and building words and sentences. I'm really impressed by how it can help the children with their handwriting in a much more fun and inventive way. They've really engaged with the programme and it's been much less time consuming for us in school.
Caligo supports student learning by enabling students to work independently from a teacher. The beauty of that is through the AI technology. So the AI technology can automatically predict what the child should be working on next, so the next best learning pathway, based on what they've been doing in their previous results. But it's that instant remediation and feedback the child gets from the app based on the shape, the direction, the order, line spacing, pen lifting of all the work they've done in that lesson as well.
The app tracks what the children are writing, and then I can, from the teacher's perspective, look back and see how they've formed those letters afterwards and make assessments from that. It's been much more effective in the classroom. They've been able to practice their handwriting every day rather than just once a week. And it's been much more consistent in the letter formations and sizes rather than myself or my TA writing them out each week for the children.
We like to create purposeful learning experiences in our schools and use a range of new experiences to support literacy development. All our schools are Chromebook schools and one-to-one Chromebooks in many year groups. So the fact that Wacom works with the Chromebooks is brilliant. EdTech plays a role in our school by helping our students to be curious and creative and independent learners. The life of the student in the classroom is transforming along with the modern world, and so we need to keep up with that. So teachers are now able to get their hands on technologies that increase student learning and engagement more than ever before, and we like creating those opportunities for students to find success in all different types of styles.
For us, we'd really like to be part of helping students to develop their technological skills. And sometimes there can be barriers with using various different forms of technology in the classroom. And the benefit of the pen with that makes things easy. So you look at STEM subjects, you know, it's very difficult with a lot of the stereotypical keyboards, mice and general tools that everybody's used to using, but you put a pen in someone's hand and suddenly it's you are fully enabled to be able to input exactly what's in your mind onto the digital platform. And for us, that's incredibly important to be part of that journey to enable students.
So the student experience on the app can commonly be seen as quite exciting for children, which typically can't be said around handwriting, but it's the fact that they're actually using a device in the classroom. There's a lot of buzz around that, but the fact that they can actually do their handwriting with the pen and the pad, it creates that realistic transition across the paper. But on the side note of that is, the children don't necessarily see it as they're learning. It is sort of a game, but in the same process, it's all about the theory side, how to form letters, and they're getting all the instant feedback. And just the way Caligo interacts with the child, how it's basically they're interacting with the app. It's very easy for that child to work at their own pace. It's not seen as boring handwriting sessions on written paper. It's very engaging, and the feedback from Caligo in terms of how it interacts, as well as being able to hear the teacher's voice as well, can keep them on track. Caligo supports children who are struggling by enabling the teachers to change a variety of settings on the teacher portal. This ranges from being able to change the writing colour, background colour for children with dyslexia, for example. We can also turn on focus mode, which means the children have to watch how the active model is being formed before they can actually do their handwriting. We can also enable teachers to pre-record verbal instructions onto a lesson. But not only that, teachers have the ability to now pre-record verbal encouragements based on how well they're doing. So if they're doing really well, you can record a certain instruction. And if they need extra support as well, you can provide that support for children, whether they're using in school or outside at home as well.
Whenever we bring a new piece of technology into the classroom, we always make sure that our staff are comfortable with using it. For this particular venture, we invited Wacom and Colligo staff in to lead a session at the start of our term in September to showcase the technology and how it worked. And it really got the teachers on side so that they felt able to use the technology in their lessons.
Yeah, really easy to set up. I set it up with my head of IT. Within 20 minutes, we had all the children set up. The children were able to access the app. At week 1, they couldn't even log in, and now they can log in themselves, go onto the lesson that I've set for them and start really quickly. When the children walked in and saw the Chromebooks and Wacom devices, they were really excited. They wanted to get started straight away, and now as soon as they see them laid out on the table, they know exactly what's going to happen next. So the children each have an individual barcode which they scan using the Chromebook camera, and then they can access it really quickly. They're all in one box with the cables and the styluses next to their Chromebook, so it's really accessible for the children to get out each day.
We always assess if technology has a real benefit to our students. We don't want to use technology for using technology's sake, so we want to make sure that it's going to be worthwhile. So we think of all the effects that it will have on our learners. We also look to make sure that devices that we use are robust and sustainable, because we want devices that last a long time and that we can use throughout the school year in lots of year groups.
So some of the best things I've seen Colligo achieve in schools has got to be around the impact on paper. Just by a child using the devices with Colligo, just even for half a term, 6 to 8 weeks, the impact on paper has been absolutely huge. Just in terms of the quality, the quantity fine increases, and that's because the children aren't thinking as much, how should they form every single letter? Because they've been practicing that theory side on Colligo, and now when they transition to paper, they're just putting their ideas down to paper. It's not thinking, how do I form a letter A? It's this way, how many strokes? It's just natural flow now.
For us, it's fundamentally important to be able to support the teachers to help with the learning process. So, if they're not comfortable with the tools and how it can benefit them, then it's very difficult for them to be able to convey that across to their students to make sure that it's adopted in the classroom. So we've developed numerous different tools and really talked to lots of teachers to make sure that we understand the requirements of what they need on a daily basis within the classroom. And then we've put together various platforms to provide tips and tricks to show how other teachers are utilising the technology within the classroom.
So we support teachers with implementing digital learning. We've got a great team behind the app. We've been working in tech now for over 8 years, and we have been working with teachers in terms of actually how best to implement devices into the classroom as well. So we don't just stop at our app. We think, we work with schools, etc. How are we going to use these devices? What are you going to use on them? It's all about, it's great having the device in the classroom, but it's all about what's supporting that. And obviously you've got Colligo to support handwriting and literacy, but we focus on the bigger picture in terms of ed tech in the classroom. What impact does it have on concentration, behaviour, outcomes? One of the common things seen with Colligo is the increase in writing stamina, the increase in quantity and quality of work. So it's how do you incorporate that into the classroom with the device?
Most beneficial part of the app that I find with assessment is I can look back at the children, see how they've done. It colour codes it for me, so I can see what sounds, words they're able to form and which ones we need to go over again, and then I can set them individual lessons from that to practice it. Also, when I set them a lesson, if they can't form a correct letter within a word, then the app will automatically get them to practice that again, so they get better at that one before they move on to the next step.
The analytical functions on Colligo support teachers similar to how they support the students. The teacher can easily see how a child has performed on shape, direction and order, as well as line spacing and pen lifting. So they can see all this replayable on the teacher portal. So that's the key thing, is that even though say in normal handwriting teaching, you know, once it's been done on paper, there's no way of retrieving that data. Whereas on Caligo, you can play it all back in real speed and see exactly how the child has formed that letter. The other side to the analytics is that Caligo can tell the teacher exactly how every child performs on every single alphabetical letter, and they get the picture as well as a class whole. But what they can also do is they can see, for senior leadership teams, they can actually see how well a school performs, a year group performs, and shortly how well a class performs as well on all of the different Caligo exercises. So it's a really easy way for teachers to provide that, to turn that analytical side into supportive measures, basically.
What makes Wacom smile on a daily basis is seeing the technology used in the classroom. There is nothing more gratifying than going into a classroom, seeing the children pick up the pen and just being able to use it. And they are so immersed and embedded into what they're doing, they don't even realise that they're using a new tool. And for them, especially with handwriting, why this pilot is so important, and the collaboration that we have with Caligo is so important. Handwriting on a digital platform needs a pen. And it just becomes so easy for both teachers and students to use it on digital platforms. And you just can't help but smile.
I just really hope that they're happy and that they look back on their Year 1 experiences with a lot of pride and some really great memories, and that they go on to achieve what they want to achieve.
In the classroom, really look forward to seeing the children being engaged and loving their learning, having fun as they go along the way. They're all learning new, different things and having independent learning experiences along the way.
As you can see, it's a really lovely pilot that we're doing so far. I mean, being in that classroom was just inspiring to see how the kids interacted with the software and then used the pens. So this one's incredibly close to my own heart because I've got a daughter of similar age who's tried it out for herself, and you know, she's using digital platforms on a daily basis, and to do that in the classroom to actually help them with the learning process has been really gratifying. So we're running this pilot now up until the end of Christmas to learn as much as we can from it, so that we can enable more institutions and all schools to utilize the solutions so that it's right for them. And I'm really excited to see the final results from all of this. I've noticed that we have a few questions that have come in from the chat. The first one being, how do the pen tablets differ from using an iPad, which the kids might be familiar with or more familiar with than using when they're using them at home? I think the key difference of using the pen tablet over an iPad is it's the pen pressure, and the way we've designed the tablets has that real pen on paper feeling. The good thing is the fact that we can connect it to a Chromebook, a PC, a Mac, and Android devices. So you're not limited to just using that one tool of using an iPad at home. And it's just surprising about how if you plug it in to whatever device you have, children are just able to pick up the pen and use it. And there's no learning curve around the hand-eye coordination. There is a difference in the form factor, but that doesn't seem to matter to children. So, you know, being able to use it on a Mac, PC or Chromebook opens up a whole world of full applications to be able to utilize handwriting tools within the full scale, rather than just being able to do it on applications within an iPad. And traditionally, kids tend to just do the touch functionality on an iPad, where they're more implored to be using the pen when you plug a tablet in. I hope that answers your question.
Maybe let me add one aspect here, Heidi. From technology perspective, I think our pen are designed also to, they are very light, right? So it's easy to work on it. We use it for a longer period. They don't run on batteries, so actually you can use it constantly. And especially the haptics, so really designed for the pen on paper writing field. I think I can really tell, and I was super impressed. Thank you for sharing this story, Sarah. How the kids just really, without any learning curve, just pick it up. And I see this actually also in many of the cases here in Europe and in Germany. So.
Also maybe something from my side, from the practical side or from the practice. So you know that in the analog side, people are using different pens. So with different, what's Feder?
Tips,
yes. And I think this is also a big advantage of Wacom, that Wacom is providing also a variety of nibs, what you can change in the pen, that you have a different feeling, what fits best to you and to the students. I think it's also a big benefit that we are offering.
Absolutely. Right, we have a second question. Is there an offering for SEN students that need to learn handwriting but might struggle with utilising a pen tablet? Absolutely. The good thing about the Wacom portfolio for education is the fact that we offer different solutions for different environments, but also different preferences. We do a range of display tablets which plug in still into a Chromebook, a Mac or a PC, but it means that you're not doing the hand-eye coordination as you would do with a pen tablet. You're working directly on screen, and that removes any kind of barrier, especially within the SEN environment. So it comes down to the students' capabilities, their preference, but in effect, we offer different solutions to enable everyone to be able to utilize the technology and have the use of the digital pen. And that's really important for us from an accessibility perspective. Okay, I think we've covered the questions in the chat. On our website, you will be able to find a form where you're able to contact us for any further questions. We'd love to be able to talk to you directly outside of this session. But I'd just like to say thank you very much for joining. I hope that you found it useful and enjoyed the content. And we have the next session coming up in just over half an hour, where we're going to be focusing on further partnerships that we have within the software environment and what it means around the technology in the classroom of today. So I look forward to seeing you there. Hope you can join us. And thank you again for joining us at this session. Good afternoon and welcome to this session of the Education Day of Connected Ink 2022. For those of you who weren't able to join the earlier sessions, I'd like to introduce myself. My name's Sarah van den Belt and I'm responsible for the education business in Europe, and I'm joined by my colleagues Heidi Wang, who is the VP of the Ink division, and Andre Kratzenberg, who is the Senior Director of Sales for Europe. Heidi, if I could just ask you to introduce yourself again for anyone who wasn't on any of the earlier sessions.
Sure, Sarah. Thank you. And hello, everyone, new joiners, everyone coming back from the earlier session. Welcome also from my side to Connected Ink. So, as nicely introduced by Sarah, my name is Heidi Wang. I'm sitting here actually in Germany in our Düsseldorf office with Andre. And my role at Wacom is about ink. So I'm the head of ink division, and what we do is basically developing digital ink technologies with always the goal to create new, meaningful, interesting use cases using digital pen and ink. And today I want to just give a little bit insights about our technology vision and what drives us really in developing technologies and innovating on use cases in education. So our vision at Wacom is called Lifelong Ink. And with Lifelong Ink, it's about our commitment. We want to express our commitment to develop innovation, technology, always with the human in focus for a very long life. So for our generations, for different use cases or life situations. At the same time, now we have almost 4 decades, right? 4 decades. We have been really living our DNA about creativity. So we started our journey and developing new technology and solutions for creative artists, for the creative minds. But more and more important, we see this also in the education space, because especially for the younger generation, we want to contribute and supporting them in developing their creativity, because creativity is so essential really from young childhood on to foster the development of their cognitive skills, of communication, the foundation also of future competencies. And at the same time, it's also their way of more kids to explore the world, to also start to interacting with the new things in the world. And most important, we believe, is that for so many centuries, and pen and paper has been the most essential and most indispensable tool for everyone, especially for small kids, to live their creativity, to explore. And our ambition is really, how can we develop technology, make digital pen and ink really, really relevant and really simple to use, as intuitive, as natural as everyone is using the ordinary or analog pen and paper. In education, especially, we always internal use when we think about what are we working on in terms of product strategy, solution strategy. We always think about STEAM. So the term STEAM, S-T-E, with a big A, because we believe the arts aspect around creativity, about creative classes, cannot be diminished by the digital transformation. We must really develop, continue to foster it and create new technology around how we can foster also creativity development in digital space. And today I'm super excited also to share together with Sarah and Andre the partner cases, how we already see how digital pen and ink is being adopted in the regular school and teaching classes, and really looking forward also to share the story, collaboration story with our software partners, which I personally is pretty impressed about the vision of the founder behind Text Help, about their philosophy to support also kids and children with difficulties in communication, in writing, in learning, with particular focus, and allowing them to use digital pen and ink in a very simple way, and to really be part of this the learning class without any disadvantage, or to be really also having an exciting time. So that's on the technology side. And I want to ask Andre with me here, to share a little bit about the business aspect, especially from the user feedback.
Yes, thank you, Heidi. Welcome also from my side. My name is André Kratzenbeck. I'm head of EMEA sales in Europe, located in Germany. Yeah, as Heidi said already, we had a very exciting first session today. So if you missed it, take the chance to have a look at it. It was very, exciting to see how students in the first class already starting working with the pen immediately and quite natural. And I think this was the most important thing for me to see and the fun that the students have. Looking a little bit back in the history of Wacom business-wise in education, of course, Heidi said already, we're coming from the art. This is our core industry, it's creativity. And we started our journey in education, in creative education. This was for us always the touch point to develop young creators and students for the future. And we did the same also most likely in universities, especially, and with the pandemic, Key 12 get a very big relevance for us. So what we are seeing at the moment is that the pen ability and the digitalization in the education industry is getting much faster than without this pandemic. Unfortunately, well, we need to say the pandemic helps to push this theme, but we see on our partner side, that means from our dealers, from our software partners, from our hardware partners, that the focus on digitalization in education is much bigger than before. And this we show also in numbers, and this is also what Wacom react on. We expand our team into Europe and also globally. So the education part get a big relevance in our business scheme at Wacom. And also we are more visible on events, on associations, everywhere where education takes place. And one part of this is definitely the relationship with our partners. This is what Sarah will explain a little bit more, how our partnership is today and what we will see in the coming up video. Sarah.
Thank you very much. Yeah, so the session today is really focused on, there's a lot of talk around the technology of the future in the classroom, but what we're really focusing on is the technology today. There are numerous different tools already implemented within learning management systems through all of our software partners and so on. And we've been working heavily with partners such as TextHelp. We will be talking with Canopy Education with a very, very strong focus on Google for Education to really show the benefits of utilizing these tools with natural handwriting tools such as the digital pen. And you'd be surprised how many bits of software that are used throughout classrooms have that pen functionality and how much more you can benefit from utilizing that functionality. And for us, it's very much having this strong approach with our partners to be able to go with real solutions to classrooms and institutions to really show it's not just about a piece of hardware. It's not just about a piece of software. It's about how the combination of these tools can really help and become inclusive learning tools and be accessible within the classroom. So we have a video now where we have some leading industry experts from TextHelp and Canopy Education who will share some of the key factors, especially within STEM subjects. And I hope you enjoy it. I will be available for questions at the end. So I will see you soon. Wacom's vision for the impacts of education is making sure that teachers and students are able to benefit from digital tools within the classroom, which are being implemented right away across the industry, while still being able to work on the fundamentals of education, of learning. So you don't have to focus on new software, new hardware, new digital devices. You can naturally pick up the pen and do what is natural in every different subject, maths, science. So creating an environment where there are no barriers. Wacom is very much focused on providing a natural tool that enables everyone in the classroom to make life a lot easier.
Well, I think, in the learning world that we're in now, we're moving rapidly towards a more digitally centric environment that has huge advantages for both teaching and learning. In the last number of years, we've seen devices increase, but our education system is very much focused on a pen and paper environment. We've got to make some change. And tools like Equatio from TextHelp, like OrbitNote, start to provide multiple ways of entry into that to bridge the gap between paper and digital tools. And if you take a tool like, for example, the Wacom tablets, that starts to really emulate a pen and paper approach. And it's the perfect bridge in my book and our book here at TextHelp to help students really make that leap and head towards an environment where learning can be more digital and assessment can be better, feedback can be better, and ultimately multiple ways to allow pupils to interact and engage with their learning. And that's really, really important to us.
Google Apps can benefit a lot from moving away from just keyboard and mouse-based input. If you think about the range of activities we do in the classroom, and as teachers we want to offer a range of choices to our students, both in terms of the tasks they complete, but also the ways in which they input into the environment. So when you take a tool like Jamboard, it's natural to be wanting to write on that, and something like the one by Wacom provides a stylus input directly into Jamboard. So students can complete work for maths by handwriting, but then that's inputted digitally straight into Google Classroom so that teachers can watch in real time that work being completed.
I think when we're designing learning experiences, if we can use a Wacom pen, we can digitise aspects that previously would be pen and paper only. We know pen and paper is the tool of choice for assessments and endpoints, but how do we digitise and build in those digital skills in a natural way for students and teachers without creating any extra workload?
Utilising Wacom products and Wacom technology within the classroom has a big impact on productivity. So it's not just about the lesson itself. For teachers, marking digitally has a huge benefit to save mass amounts of time. Getting out the red pen on lots of different pieces of paper can be very, very time consuming. Doing it in a digital environment, especially when working in an environment like Google for Education, you can literally do all of the marking and submit there and then. Also giving immediate feedback to students when within a classroom environment. So it's very much about enabling the teachers to make things a lot more productive and easier as well.
When we use the Wacom pen, we can use it both as a learner, but also as a teacher. And when pupils create that work, perhaps using a pen or alternative means of input, and they submit it to the teacher, there are multiple ways a teacher can feedback. And what could be quicker than using a traditional method, such as a Wacom tablet, to mark and provide feedback directly back to student in just a few swipes and just a few taps.
Using a Wacom pen can help teachers be a lot more productive when it comes to marking work inside Google Classroom. When you open a piece of work in Google Classroom, you can often annotate on top of that work, particularly if you're using third-party add-ons like OrbitNote from TextHelp. That enables you to annotate and mark almost in a traditional method, tick and cross and put SP on a piece of work, hit the button and move straight back onto the next piece of work. So that marking flow is much faster than sort of traditional marking with books. Plus, of course, you've got the ability to mark at any time, at any place. So you can choose to do some marking at home, do some marking in school, and not to carry all the books around with you when you choose to do that marking. So it makes it a lot more accessible to teachers to be able to quickly pick up and keep on top of student progress.
I think when you think about multiple ways of pupils to engage with content, it's really important that we give them as many of those as possible. At TextHelp, we subscribe and have done for a number of years to build our products around universal design for learning. And really the very basics of that acronym is to ensure that pupils have multiple ways of entry into a digital learning environment. That may be through speech, it may be through handwriting on screen, for example, using a Wacom pen within that. It may be speech to text from a dictation perspective, text to speech in order to listen to content. It may be image based, it may be photographic based. Ultimately, what we want to do is ensure that every single pupil has the means to engage and interact with learning that suits them, their approaches to learning, how they engage with learning, and ultimately in respect of perhaps their individual needs and differences.
I think the tool of choice is pen and paper for maths, and using a Wacom has that natural workflow, but adding in Equatio as well, because you have that handwriting recognition, whether you're working with early years, practicing that pencil grip, that tripod grip and getting that number formation, all the way through to students preparing for their GCSE exams. That pen and paper action is what we're trying to build into their maths experience. And so combining the two digitizes that natural handwriting, enhances it because it will make that handwritten maths accessible using Equatio. And if we make things accessible by design, then everyone gets the benefit whether they need them or not.
Do you know, maths in a digital learning environment has been one of those subjects, alongside science and maths-based science, that's really been left behind in the digital environment. You know, we're used to rote practice, we're used to those apps, we're used to online learning platforms. But what we really need to do with maths is have pupils engaged, to help them explore abstract concepts. And a tool like Equatio will give pupils multiple ways to access that. So simple abstract maths problems, they can start to create shapes, they can start to create diagrams and images that can represent those. And when you introduce a Wacom pen on top of that, suddenly we've got ways to annotate, to mark, to hand draw, to handwrite. And we really help to bridge the gap that pupils are experiencing between that paper-based world, those notebooks that we've all been used to in maths, and introduce a digital approach to learning.
I think maths is on an evolving education journey on its way to a digital environment. Pen and paper is the way that we work things out. It's the way we've always worked things out. It's easy to carry a pencil behind the ear and quickly sketch if you're on a building site. But we could use that, and we could use that pencil to be a digital pencil with a Wacom and then quickly sketch and quickly explore that maths. We can give students the opportunity to digitise the workflow but also explore maths in whole new ways because they're digitising what was traditionally a static experience.
Many of us talk about our fear of maths, our challenges with maths, and a lot of that can stem from our basic understanding of things like abstract concepts that we're presented with in maths. What does algebra mean to the real world? And what digital tools enable us to do is explore that maths content, and more importantly for me, express that maths content in ways that help me understand as an individual learner, in ways that are accessible to me if I have a different approach to learning than one of my peers. And one of the very fascinating things about maths for me, and there was a study very recently done on this, in a typical classroom of 30 students, you give them a simple sum like 18 multiplied by 5, you'll on average find 17 different ways to come up with that simple answer. So if you take that on a paper-based format, that's a very straightforward way to answer that question. If you empower students with things like the Wacom pen and tablet and Equatio as a maths tool, suddenly there's an open-ended number of ways that they can start to explore that question and start to answer it.
Our vision at Excel is to help everyone to understand and be understood. And I strongly believe that a Wacom pen really helps us to deliver that vision. Although with our tools, we support students to access the content in their own different learning styles, to express themselves, and really give them all the toolkit that they need, or a lot of the toolkit that they need to achieve their potential, we're still confining them to a keyboard and a mouse. So there's a gap there in what you could call the interface, basically. So with a Wacom pen, you give the students another way of actually expressing themselves, another way of inputting what they are learning. So think about, for example, maths. So you're in a maths classroom, you're working with Equatio, and you could use a keyboard, you could use your mouse as well, you could use your voice as well. But with a Wacom pen, you can handwrite your maths, and Equatio then will digitize that and make it accessible. So it's really a nice bundle there that just widens the possibilities for the student. And we think about, for example, English, and you're working on a worksheet, you can use Orbit Note and handwrite maybe using the mouse, but it's obviously tricky. You can write with your keyboard, but then again, if you use a pen in a Wacom, you can handwrite, and it's a much more natural process for many of the students. So it gives the students choice, it enhances the whole process.
Jamboard is a really great tool within Google Workspace for Education because it offers this variety of different inputs. So being able to use a stylus input with something like the one by Wacom allows us to capture thoughts in different ways. If we think about STEM subjects like science and maths, they often require a variety of input methods. And so using that on the jam, along with AI tools like AutoDraw, can really help move people's on. And we've seen a real growth in Jamboard as a file type within Google Workspace and Google Classroom.
I think in your classroom, when you're transforming anything to a digital learning environment, is it going to speed up the process? Then yes. So grabbing a PDF that's ready-made, put it in Orbit Note, annotating it, speaking some commands in, giving students the opportunity to handwrite and send back is a massive win. In terms of maths, you can quickly take a traditional exam question, insert an image into Equatio and use your Wacom to annotate and create that model worked example that students can build their knowledge from. But I think more importantly than that, you can create whole new opportunities for students just by giving them a blank space, a Wacom, and saying, find the maths in this image, or find the form parts of a sentence in this text. Use the Wacom to highlight it, and that will quickly build that transformation journey.
If you go back to, for example, a flat PDF, and we take that, for example, as a booklet, a typical booklet that a teacher would use, would take it as a worksheet. Perhaps it's something that we've purchased or it was something that we've created in class as a piece of task design. Imagine what happens when we send that to a pupil. Traditionally, maybe we just type on that. When you introduce a Wacom pen and tablet directly into that, suddenly you've got a living, breathing document where you can draw, you can annotate, you can interact, you can do it on your terms and in your way, but you can emulate as close to paper as possible within that. And that's really powerful. For example, we've all been there and distributed past papers, practice papers. Ultimately, still they are paper-based pieces. With a Wacom pen and tablet within there, we can now use and emulate a pen and actually create even more layers of engagement on top of a traditional PDF.
I think we know PDFs are the format of choice for many resources. We know teachers are time poor. So if we have a PDF and we can combine it with Orbit Note, we can save teachers time grabbing that PDF. We know it's made accessible, but then to have students to be able to annotate on it, or as teachers to put that model worked example using a Wacom pen, it helps digitize that workflow and takes what is a flat PDF and elevates it to a new digital learning experience.
If we go back to how the typical classroom looks like today, you have a lot of students working with pen and paper. And then if we add the next layer there, which could be a software tool like Orbit Note to enhance that process in a digital platform, we right away see a gap in the middle, because we're jumping from a piece of paper, a physical experience, to forcing students to work on devices and keyboards. So there's a gap in the middle where Wacom actually does a brilliant job and connects those two in a very, very effective way. Teachers have now the possibility of creating content that is much more engaging while keeping that design process very simple and slick. While students now gain a lot of power in what they can do with those documents.
For many of us, we've been used to PDFs as an example being a very flat format. It was the format that we always took to simply distribute. And in many times, even in recent digital times, teachers have been distributing PDFs and we've been still asking pupils to print those. We've been still asking for booklets to be paper-based, even though it's a PDF source. And what Orbit Note really enables us to do is put multiple ways to make that accessible. So for example, to have it read aloud. But more importantly for me, it allows a multimodal approach on what was traditionally a very flat piece of content. So take that flat PDF, start to layer on images on top of that, start to add on annotations, start to add on voice notes, start to add on notes, start to add on many different ways that we can engage with that. So it takes a PDF, it takes it from that flat format, it makes it actionable, it makes it accessible, and ultimately for us, it makes a PDF far more engaging. And if you just layer on top of that, then the capabilities of creating, for example, a digital workflow, we're able to take that PDF, we're able to raise the game in terms of how pupils can interact with it. We're also able to build in a digital workflow, where as a teacher, you can get those PDFs back easily and quickly and provide even faster feedback and review directly back to your students.
I hope you enjoyed that overview of some of the partnerships that we hold and some of the benefits that are offered within the digital classroom. I mean, one of the things that I'd really like to emphasize within this, Patrick mentioned around the need for printing when you're in a classroom, when you're using standard PDFs. In the current situation today, especially from the economical but also the environmental perspective, reducing printing can save on footprint and also costs. And transforming to a digital classroom can really help with these elements. And we've seen huge reduction in printing across the board by implementing digital classroom tools. So this is a really incredible point, and we're working heavily with the partners such as TextHub and Canopy, who are heavily involved in the Google infrastructure, to really identify all of the key benefits around utilizing these elements of software. And it's a very exciting place that we're in at the moment. I hope you enjoyed that video. We're now open for Q&A. Just checking the chat. We've seen one question around how robust are the devices, especially the pens and the nibs. Obviously, this is a very important point, especially when you're talking about the K-12 environment and early years. The devices have been designed to not break when they hit the floor. Vigorous use of the pen and the nibs. They've been tested heavily to make sure that they don't break easily at all. The fact that there's no battery within the pen means that it's a lot more solid. There's no weighting in it. You don't have to keep on opening it to be able to change the battery. The storage of them is incredibly easy as well. So when you're taking them out and putting them away at the end of the day, it's a simple task where you can reduce the possibilities of them being dropped or damages happening within the classroom. So they've been designed to be robust. I think we have one more question. Do you have someone from Wacom that could work with us locally in Germany to see how we can implement these kinds of solutions in our schools? We've built a dedicated team right the way across Europe and also right the way across EMEA. And we also have counterparts in the other regions of the world. So the focus on digital transformation and Wacom within education from a collaboration perspective, we have teams who can come into schools directly, be able to talk about the appropriate solutions for you. Sometimes it can be very confusing with the massive amount of vendors that are out there with different digital tools. So as we've seen, we work with a lot of partners, so we can work on the appropriate options and absolutely come into schools and work with you hand in hand. We also have a team of experts out there in the market as well. So these are teachers who are utilizing the technology themselves, and they are always happy to share tips and tricks, things that have been implemented within the classrooms and what works and what doesn't. So there's an entire network out there. Feel free to contact us on that. We have a contact us form on our website. If you go to the education section, that will come directly to our team, and we're more than happy to answer any further questions that you may have. So just wait to see if there's any further questions, but if not, I'd just like to say that that's it for the online sessions for today. We have a lot of live sessions that are happening in our Experience Center in Dusseldorf, where the team will be on site talking to the audience and showing products. But our next session is going to be live on Saturday the 19th with the focus on Creativity Day, where we have a full packed agenda, and we are hoping that you're able to join us for that session. So thank you for today, and I hope you found these sessions useful.